better daily, where we work hard in our minds, bodies, and our spirits to become 1% better every single day. Download the app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live to catch the video version of these podcasts. Here's your host and my dad, Alex Van Houten.
What is up, Betterment family? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. I'm super excited. Today is Word Thursday, and the word is indomitable. Indomitable is a very powerful word to me, and I have a deep history with this word, and I'm excited to break it down with you guys this morning. So, good morning, KT. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining me on Word Thursday. So the word is indomitable. Indomitable is a very interesting word, partially because of the meaning, partially because of its etymology, and then again, I have a particular connection to this word as well. And indomitable, the actual word means, if you look it up, not abominable like the snowman, like abominable, not like hateful or disgusting or gross or anything. That's abominable. Indomitable. That's I-N. Indomitable. Indomitable, if you look it up, the primary definition means to be unconquerable. To be unconquerable. It could also mean to be courageous. It could also mean to stand up in the face of difficulty. Indomitable. It's kind of that, what is that song? Tub thumping? I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Don't worry, I'm not gonna quit my day job. But that's kind of the spirit around the word as it's used today. But if you go back to the etymology, the Latin back in the 1600s, indomitable meant more like untamable, and that was used in reference to things like domesticated animals. An untamable dog, for instance, was a dog that you couldn't teach to get off of the dining room table, right? And just a little too much wolf in the dog. Or a horse, you couldn't break the horse. It was an untamable stallion. They wouldn't do the work of the farm so much, and so it was almost useless because there was an untamability to it. And the indomitable, domitable, comes from domestic, which has Latin roots as well. And the domestication of something, or the domest quality of that thing, was the extent to which it could be weak and subduable. And so the word indomitable actually comes out of a uselessness. To be indomitable as a horse or as a dog means to be useless, because we as humans, when we're looking at something that's supposed to serve our purposes and the tool doesn't do its job, like a horse doesn't do the work that we're asking it to do, then it's a useless thing to us. But because of the untamability of that thing, in the language, it started to evolve and change and shift to mean something a little bit different, because the forces of the world on us as humans is difficult. It can be heavy. And I'll give you an example. So I grew up under the poverty line, and I grew up as the oldest of four in a single parent home. And I know that's demography and stuff, but the point is, I had a lot of odds stacked against me. And this word's special to me because there was a point in my life I got to practice karate. I was in the Shorin-ryu system when I first started in mixed martial arts, and the man, my sensei's name was Terry. He took time each week to pick a word and to talk about this word, and indomitable was one of the words. And yeah, I was like 7 or 8. I did not, it like went in one ear and out the other. I did not pay attention at all. But we were in the car, and my mom said to me, "Alex, did you hear the word tonight? Indomitable." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I heard the word. I saw it on the board, you know." And she goes, "That's a really special word for you. You have an indomitable spirit." And it's funny because, I was 7 or 8, and it stuck with me all these years to hear that from my mom. But what she was saying is, I recognize in you an untamability, a thing that, knock you down 9 times and you'll get up a 10th time. And it's not a useless thing when we're talking about humans. We're talking about the ability of a human being to face up against odds that should crush them, but doesn't. And that's something that stuck with me for a long time. I'm raising my boys right now, and growing up under the poverty line, you wouldn't know it. maybe have a few strange tendencies, like, I clean everybody's plate at the table because I can't stand to waste food. It drives me crazy. So if somebody's like, oh, I'm done with this, I'm like, well, I'm going to make sure that that doesn't go in the trash. That's good food right there. And, we've got plenty of food in my house, but I can't stand to waste anything, right? So outside of some strange tendencies, you wouldn't know it, right? I grew up in a fatherless home, but I'm working really hard to be a good dad to my kids. And so in a way, those obstacles gave me an incentive to not be conquered by them, if that makes sense. And I remember growing up thinking, this isn't going to define me. And I say these things internally, but I'm going to reflect them back at you, because one thing that I've learned in helping people in their betterment journeys for the last 16 years, whether it's rising up to the challenge of an injury or dealing with chronic pain or overcoming, a disease or a condition that makes you an outlier. Like I'm working with a gentleman who has a condition called hemochromatosis, which is that the body does not filter the iron from your bloodstream like it's supposed to. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's sufficient for the moment. And so that means for this gentleman, he's constantly building up iron in his body. And so exercise affects him a little bit differently than the average person. When he's fatigued, it's not just that he's had poor sleep or something like that. It's that the iron accumulation in his liver and in his organs is really weighing on him. And one of the treatments for hemochromatosis is actually to be bled. It's like donating blood, but more than that. You got to drain some of that blood out of the system, so your body has to make new blood and, dilute some of the iron. And this guy, man, he shows up for his family, he shows up for his business, he works hard in his workouts, and he's facing this thing well. In the New Testament, when Christ says, if any man wishes to be my disciple, then he will pick up his cross and follow me. That's kind of the same idea. It's like, look, here's this load, this existential burden, this difficult thing. And it's not just me. It's not just fatherlessness and poverty. It's not just him, hemochromatosis. Every single person I've ever come in contact with through this developing and supporting those in betterment journeys, every single one of you, you're carrying something heavy. You just are. That's just reality. Because, there's a lot of things that would tame you. There are a lot of things that would domesticate you, so to speak. There are a lot of things that would subdue you and hold you down and keep you there. And if you're not carrying a heavy load in the moment, like at the end of the day, we're all mortal. We're all facing this thing called death someday, which of all things should ultimately subdue you, right? You're gonna end at some point. At least the body will. And so an indomitable spirit is like a prerequisite to this whole betterment thing. Because the one thing that I've found, no matter what your goal is, the one thing that I've found that unites everybody is this sense of, this is the way things are, but, and it's that realization of the way things are, and then the denial to let those things dictate you, to dictate your thoughts, to dictate your love, to dictate your actions, to dictate your mood. It's that tiny shift that says, you know what, fine. This is the way things are. This is the fence around me. That's Ehlers Danlos in my life. This is the fence around me. But I'm going to climb the fence. I'm going to make the most of this area of my life. I'm going to have a grand old time in this fenced-in area, right? There's a really interesting passage in John where Christ is talking to his disciples about what's about to happen. I'm about to die. I'm going to be resurrected. You're going to have to build, the legacy here and show up in the world well and love each other well. And he says something really interesting. He says, I give you my spirit and the world can't take that from you. And it's like, he's preparing them, he's saying, look, they can take your life. They can take your food. They can take your liberty. They can throw you in jail. They can take your families. They can take literally everything else, but they're not going to take this. They're not going to take that. They're not going to take the indomitable spirit that's in you. And man, like, if that's not one of the deepest things that you can believe or think, because no matter what you're going through in your life, whether you're dealing with pain, chronic disease, whether you're dealing with family issues, and man, heck, maybe you're dealing with stuff at work and mandates from your government or whatever it is that you're dealing with, you're standing up against those things, but there's something that they cannot take from you. And there's something in you that if you will rest in it, and if you will give it voice, and if you will show up in it every single day, then you can stand up to literally anything. You just can. And it's a powerful place to be. So the word is Indomitable. The 1600s usage of it was, "You are a useless, untamable punk." Dang it, will you just do your work on the farm? The year 2021 usage of it means unconquerable. And I'd like to end this message with a really powerful poem by William Ernest Henley. Reportedly, it was the favorite poem of the late Nelson Mandela, really cool figure in history. And it's called Invictus, which is very similar meaning to indomitable. And it goes like this: "Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Out of the fell clutch of circumstance, I will not wince, nor cry aloud. Out of the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. Matters not how strait the gate, nor charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." Thank you guys so much for joining me on Word Wednesday. This is an encouragement to you to be indomitable. Pick up that load. It's not too heavy for you, I promise. And if it feels that way, you're not alone. We're all carrying something, but it's a little lighter when we do it together. This has been Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. I'm looking forward to tomorrow when we're in Flex Friday. You can call me Coach, because we're going to dive into some exercise that maybe will feed that whole Indomitable Spirit thing. Until then, it's just 1%. You got this.
Thank you for joining us for 1% Better today. Don't forget to subscribe for the podcast. Leave us a raving review to tell others how Better Daily has helped you in your journey. If you want more Better Daily, download our app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live. Use code POD to get 25% off your subscription. That's POD, all caps, to save 25% on your subscription. We all have a cross to carry. It's lighter when we do it together. Go to betterdaily.live today.